We good? All right. Well, welcome. This is our Plan and Zoning Commission regular meeting on January 23rd, 2025 at 6 p.m. in the City Council chambers of Kennedale, Texas. Welcome, welcome, everybody. First thing I'd like to do is go ahead and get a call to order. Roll call.
Chair Michael Brown,
Present.
Vice Chair Andrew Mulkowski,
Here.
Place 4 Elfreda Jones,
Alfred, yes. Here.
Place 5 Socorro Martinez.
Yes, here.
Meeting's adjourned.
Still only have quorum.
We have a quorum.
Okay, thank you, Madam Secretary. I'm going to go ahead and open up public comments at this time. It is 6:05. We'll go ahead and begin the actual meeting at this point. We welcome any kind of comments from the public at this point. Anybody signed up to speak at this time?
No speaker at this time.
All righty. Well, at that point, we're going to go into regular session. Consent agenda at this point, approval for minutes. We're going to go ahead and skip over that for the moment since we do not have a copy of record for December 19th.
We can table that.
Yeah, definitely table that. I guess we need to take a motion on that.
Yeah, I think so.
Motion to table the approval of the minutes for the December 19th. Can I get a motion?
A motion we table.
Okay, second motion, please.
I second.
All right, all in favor? All right, unanimous to table the minutes, accepting the minutes for December 19th till later appointed. Rolls us right into item B. Items for individual consideration, discussion, and/or action. Item 1 on that is going to be PZ case 2502. Boy, we're moving along, 25. All right, consider approval for a preliminary plat creating lots 1 through 8, block 1, lots 1 through 8, block 2, and lots 1 through 19, 1X is an X-ray, block 3. Moderno addition being 6.008 acres of land situated within the Robert C. Richley Survey, abstract number 1327 and abstract number 1359 in the city of Kennedale, Tarrant County, Texas. Sir.
Good evening, our Planning and Zoning Commission. It's great to be with you. I want to thank Lucia, our administrative assistant at City Manager's Office, for helping out. Tina, our normal planning technician's on a missions trip to Cuba, so keep her in your thoughts out there. She'll be back shortly. This particular case, it's a preliminary plat, so if the address is familiar, 3775, 3771 New Hope, out there was a zoning change from the Moderno. It was a tiny home, tiny cottage type development. It was rezoned to just your traditional single-family development to create 34 single-family lots and then a single lot in the back reserved for parkland and site detention and lot sizes. The city staff has reviewed it, engineering staff has reviewed the plat. It does meet all our zoning requirements as well as the zoning requirements of the plan development that was approved. And so at this point, staff, we recommend approval for the preliminary plat here. Also make a note, the plat itself had some corrections in green. Those have since been resolved, so we don't have any more outstanding items. It meets all our planning and zoning requirements, and the corrections that it needed were just simple typos at the time, so we felt comfortable bringing it before P&Z. That's all since been resolved. We've updated the packet and everything like that to reflect that, so answer any questions that you may have.
Well, can we get this any smaller?
Basically it's a single drive down to a cul-de-sac. It is stubbed out north and south for future development. So if that acreage ever develops in the future, they'll be able to tie into this neighborhood. The last thing you want down New Hope is just a bunch of cul-de-sacs, just single entryways. You want to create a grid to kind of improve mobility. walkability and access, emergency response, things like that. So we always keep that in mind whenever we talk about development here in town, is it's stubbed out for future growth. So we do have that there. Lot sizes range from 60, 55. Closer to New Hope, you have some wider lots. They're about 60 feet wide, then it goes to 55. And as the acreage kind of narrows towards the back, we were able to get some 50-foot lots back there, which is pretty standard in the market. So what we do like about that is that on a 50-foot lot, even though you have a five-yard setback on the side yards, the 60s and the 55s, I believe, particularly the 60s, have a wider setback, so it won't have that congestion feel. But aside from that, the preliminary plat's ready to go. Their next step would be to, they've actually gone ahead and designed their full engineering ahead of time. So it's their civil engineering is ahead of review. Our staff has looked at that. They do have to make some corrections on that. So the next step is they'll get into the site development review before they get to the final plat. So right now, we're just talking preliminary plat. These obviously don't get filed with the county or anything like that just yet, but they are moving quite well on that front. One of the great things about this project is they will actually, at the developer's cost, he will be extending the water and sewer line down New Hope, which right now we don't have sewer out that far. Once you get a little bit further south of Sonora Park, there's a couple homes there that have access to it, but everybody else is on septic. So in order to service this particular development, he's at his cost bringing that sewer line all the way down. So that's going to be great. I imagine a lot of the residents will want to tie in at that point that are existing out there. So this is going to be good for the city.
Okay, and the back of it is obviously a retention pond.
Correct.
Setback.
Yeah, and the review of that, again, anything post-construction, they have to detain on site. So all that is still being reviewed. We believe it's sized appropriately, but right now on the plat, you won't see the detention pond. You'll just see the lot itself that's reserved for that detention pond. And there'll be some, it'll be a green space as well. We've been talking with the developer about incorporating that. If they turn that, maybe put a trail or a walkway around the detention pond and a park, it could count towards their parkland dedication. And that'll actually reduce a lot of their park dedication fees if they do that. And so they're working out the engineering on all that, but it should be a nice little pocket in town, yeah.
All right. That's kind of a no-brainer. Any discussion from the, everybody's happy? All right, well, guess this time we'll go ahead and take a motion to approve or to recommend approval. Right, yeah, we'll consider approval at this point. Motion.
A motion we approve.
All right, a second.
I second the motion.
All righty, all in favor at this time? All right, 4-0 unanimous, man. For item 1 to approve the PZ case 2502. Got it. Well, now that I have located last meeting's minutes, through no fault of anybody else but myself, I would actually like to go ahead and revisit that to approve those minutes. All in favor on that? Motion to revisit for approval of the minutes.
I motion we, revisit the minutes. The tabled item.
There we go.
Because we have the
All right,
document.
second, please.
I second.
All right, so all in favor of that? Everybody good? All right, we're going to return back to approval of the minutes, which is the consent agenda A1. And those meeting minutes are from, excuse me, December 19th, 2024 at 6 p.m. Was there any revisits of these minutes from the board at all? Everybody's good with them as written? Look like I remember most of this. All right, well then we'll take a motion to approve these minutes into record.
I motion we approve.
All right, a second motion, please. Okay, I'd like to get all in favor for approving the minutes for December 19th meeting? All in favor? All right, 4-0, ma'am. We can file that under done. All right, Nathan, second item is going to be update of the Universal Developmental Code Land Use Table. Thank you very much for the well thought out larger copy of this. Go ahead, sir.
Okay, well, just want to pick up where we left off last month. If you recall, provided you an update on staff's work that our comp plan recommends. So first step was to get the comp plan in place, get that approved. That was adopted unanimously. And then the second half was to realign our development code to meet the goals and objectives of that particular plan. That's what we've been working on. Wanted to bring to you, give you an update of where we're at today. Right now, we are still working through this land use table, but I wanted to bring that to you, get your thoughts on it. There are several columns, rows that right now we're working to kind of match our existing land use tables. And so if you see a use in there that's not there, again, it's just a draft. We just got to add an extra row, make sure we're trying to make sure we have consistency. But then we added new land uses, like we discussed last time, what's permitted, what's not, and then we added some additional columns. So let me kind of just give you an overview of how this land table works and this is again just a draft. On the left-hand column, this is consolidating in one document the various land use tables that are in each chapter of the UDC. So I think last time I brought you that UDC, showed you how thick that sucker was, right? Every article starts with a land use table, and it's like 10, 12 pages long that you've got to flip through. So here we're going to have just a consolidated land use table, and it's broken in by residential uses. Next category, you get into institutional and public uses. Those are like your government offices, schools, churches, things like that. It gets into educational uses, automotive, transportation, office, professional. Those are the rows that you'll see highlighted in gray. And then the columns themselves are the zoning districts that we have existing. And the last two columns I want to bring to your attention, you'll see TOD and you'll see ET. And TOD stands for that transit-oriented development overlay district that we were talking about last time. The comp plan calls out two overlay districts, essentially, the Oakcrest area for transit-oriented development. We also have some transit-oriented development that the future land use plan calls out for close to Old Town, close to Sonora Park. There's a large parcel there that the city owns. It right now is just vacant. But that particular area, if you recall, we've talked about a rail in some distant future going from Mansfield downtown Fort Worth. We'd get a stop there in Old Town area, great for commerce, great for everybody. And then another stop in the Oakcrest area, which we've secured some land already up there through the EDC. And so the TOD that you see there is not a zoning district in and of itself. It'll simply be an overlay district going in strategic places that we discussed last time. And then the last column, that ET, that's that entertainment district that we discussed that kind of goes up Bowman Springs. It'll probably encompass some area off the parkway itself as we get more feedback from this body as well as council and the public. But that's indoor recreation, family-friendly type stuff. Nothing crazy or anything like that. So we want to be cognizant of that. But within each cell, you'll see letters there that currently exist already today. And we've made some updates to that to, again, align with the comp plan. So when you see a P, that means permitted. You can do it by right. When you see a C, it's a conditional use permit, meaning that they have to apply and come before P&Z to talk about what they want to do. You would review that and make a recommendation to council, then that would go to city council for final say and approval. So that's on any land use that you see with a C. Land use that you see on a cell that has an S, that stands for special exception, and that would be, it's not a use that's permitted by right, but it allows the Board of Adjustment to review that land use on a case-by-case basis. While I'm talking about that, I do want to highlight that we are looking at whether or not special exceptions should be reviewed by the Board of Adjustment or by the Planning and Zoning Commission, right? So which is the proper venue for that? The Board of Adjustment is there to adjust zoning, right? To hear appeals of zoning, not necessarily make decisions on land use for, say, zoning wise, like creating a new zoning district or anything like that. That's reserved for this body and council, right? So we are looking at those particular things, processes. So when you get the actual draft that we anticipate that's coming in February, there's going to be some changes to authority, which body reviews what, right? Does staff have the authority to review that? Does that need to go to Planning and Zoning Commission instead? Does that need to go to the Board of Adjustment? Things of that nature. But right now, the way it's set is that anything that has an S requires an application. So they have to apply for that. We charge them a fee to do that. We've got to do the public notices and everything, but they go to the Board of Adjustment to present their case, and then they are granted either yes or no if they can do that. And the board sometimes will set a time frame on that. So I do want to make that, have that noted on the record. Anything that you see that's blank, there's not a letter there, it's not permitted in that zoning district. And so some of the things that we've added go back to what we've discussed last time. We haven't made any changes in our agriculture districts. None of our R districts, so our single family R1, 2, 3, 4, duplex, multifamily, manufactured home, townhomes. We haven't changed any land uses. So what's permitted today will continue to be permitted. In fact, we're not removing any land uses per se. The only thing that the overlay districts will do will include additional uses to encourage other types of uses. So I don't have any big concerns on creating any non-conformities out there, because what happens is if we take a letter out of one of these cells, then we create a non-conformity for that landowner, right? If we put something in there, we're just telling them, hey, you got more options, right? We're not taking anything away from them. But it's when we go to remove certain things, that's where we may create a non-conformity. And so we want to be cognizant of that. Within the residential uses, what we did do is we looked at increasing the variety of housing types that the comp plan calls for. Comp plan says, hey, we should allow a variety of different types of housing types. Now, existing today within our UDC, we have a term that says single family, right? Two family, which would be a duplex. We have two other terms. We have a 3-family and we have a 4-family. And these are terms, and you'll see terms in there that that may be highlighted in red. We haven't highlighted everything in red that we're working on, but those specifically we're looking to better define. If you recall, last time we met, I said, the way we define multifamily in town is 3 units or more, right? Well, if I have a triplex of a townhome that's a bank of 3, right? But it's on a single lot, do I call that multifamily now? It's not really, right? Because multifamily is more apartments. We're going vertical. A 3-family is just units that are attached to each other. They're still single-family units, but they just happen to be attached to one another, right? How we define that. So we're also looking at 4-family, right? If I get a bank or a block of 4 townhomes that are designed to look like townhomes, but they just happen to be attached, today I got to call that multifamily. Well, that triggers all sorts of other requirements. It's confusing because one district says a 4-family is okay, but at the same time within that same district, it says multifamily is prohibited. So I need a better definition of how we're going to define 3-family, 4-family, and multifamily And so that's the definition that we're looking at. Like the comp plan says, that we need to have a little bit more variety of housing types in town, but where, right? Certain areas, we need to be strategic in how we do that. And so within the Old Town District, we've kept basically the land uses the same. We've increased some commercial, I believe. On the residential side, we have added the 2-family, the 3-family, and the 4-family to various Old Town districts. So I want to bring that to your attention. If there's any commentary about that, feel free. I gave you a Sharpie too. Mark it up. Let's talk about that. What are your concerns? What are you thinking? Again, all this is driven by what the comp plan is directing us to do. We also looked at live-work units, right? When you get to Old Town 3 and 4, here in town, those are kind of closer to the Parkway. We have a lot of mixed use there. And so can a live-work unit work there? Yeah, probably, right? So if we allow that, that's going to increase our variety of types of housing. We also talked about last time ADUs, right? Accessory dwelling units. Someone wants to build a back home for grandma, mother-in-law. I caution that, but I'm just kidding. I have a great relationship with my mother-in-law. But if someone wants to build an ADU, right, they have to jump through all this hoops. There's all this red tape, and so we're proposing, hey, let's go ahead and allow that by right in all our residential districts, but we'll have site-specific requirements, meaning you got to have enough space, right? You can't just cover the whole. You can't build another home behind your backyard, right, and call it an ADU. So it'll have size limitations. You can't put a meter on it, right? You can't have its own address. So there's things that we can do to kind of control how that works. You can't rent it out to like a Airbnb or something like that, right? So that's what we're proposing right now. But if you look in the Old Town districts, some of those land uses, we've specified now 3-family, 4-family, and we're going to work on better defining that. And again, in Old Town, the comp plan talks about we need to support the town center better, right? It needs more foot traffic, it needs more people, and the way to do that is to allow for more people to kind of move into those strategic areas. So if we can increase the types of housing in those areas. Old Town already today has a higher lot coverage than you would normally see in your R1, R2, where you have a lot of grass, these estate lots that we have in town. In today's world, a 50-foot lot is almost considered an estate lot. They're building on 35-foot lots these days, right? But the next generation, they want more house, they want less yard, they don't want to maintain it. I'm kind of somewhere in between. I'm doing okay now. I feel like I've made it because I'm not cutting my grass anymore. This has been like a month or two now, right? So I finally was able to hire somebody to cut my grass, but we'll see how the economy goes and see what council budgets to see if I can keep that up. I don't know, who knows? I'm getting off topic, but so in Old Town today, we have very few properties. I got my eye on a couple of them that I think would be great to get some sort of historic protections because they're craftsman style homes. They just don't make them like that anymore. But if you go here off right off of townhomes, we got existing multifamily, we got duplexes, we got townhomes, we just got a variety of things, right? So, but if we can, and we got more in the works. People are building these things. You'll notice there's some duplexes that were built, but they look like townhomes, and they were built very, very well, finished out very, very well. And that's going to bring more people into the center of town that's going to support our local businesses here in town. So in the center of town, most people in town, we've actually looked at the data. They don't spend money in town. They go to Arlington and Mansfield. People that live on that side of the Parkway don't come this way to shop. And that's a problem, right? And so to do that, we need more people moving in over here, right? So they'll come this way. And so part of that, again, the comp plan, I'm doing a horrible job of butchering what the comp plan says, but it's speaking to all these different facets about that. Last time we talked about our commercial districts and creating some sort of mixed use by default within our C1, C2 districts. We're not talking about allowing apartments, but we are talking about allowing mixed use, right? So that second level, third level, maybe apartment lofts, things of that nature, live work units. If we have a lot of uses, or a lot of commercial property off the parkway that is C1, C2, and I've got businesses, developers, landowners that say, hey, I want to build something real unique, but I want to do it here in town, like, 'cause, you know, it's just been sitting vacant forever, and I don't want to do another, you know, tire shop or something like that. I want to do something unique. Can you let me do that? And I got to tell them no, right? Because that's what's on the books today. And so what we are is that if they can say, but if I want to get a craft, you know, barbecue or a cleaners or maybe a brewery or something unique down on the bottom floor, and I got this idea of maybe putting some really like luxury lofts or something like that up top. I want to do that, but you won't let me. I'm just like, well, it's not me. It's how it's written up, right? I'd love to do that, but so anywho, you'll see that in the residential uses category, you'll see a P now that we're proposing for the upper floor, but it's specifically to mixed use. And so when this comes back to you, in today's land use tables, there's the last column. It's not reflected here, but the last column is a column that specifies a number, and it'll say like 11.17, 11.28, and that number ties to a specific chapter in the book that says, if we allow you to build this, this is how it's got to be. And though that part of those design standards we talked about last time is how we're going to control that, right? So we're just not going to let anybody go up and build whatever they want, without giving us that mixed use. So it would need to have certain requirements. And so you'll see that that's been a change that we're proposing, again, that's directed by the comp plan. In the C districts, we already have the EC1, EC2, EC3. That's over there by the QT, McDonald's, off the Parkway. The area behind it, that stands for Employment Center, 1, 2, and 3. And so those land uses, again, we've tried to mirror that. Can we allow some upper level, upper floor stuff? Again, those areas, that's in the Oakcrest area that we've been talking about. Neighborhood village, and urban village, you'll see that particular column, we haven't made any changes to our urban villages, neighborhood villages, outside of maybe allowing for more agritourism, tree sales, just some really unique things that would benefit a neighborhood. That last column, you'll see transit-oriented development. And within that district, so we're talking about that Oakcrest area, we are talking about allowing for basically all types of residential that's there. You won't see, we do want to be strategic, so we are encouraging higher density there. Like we discussed, one of the questions I asked last time was, well, what's an appropriate level of density for that overlay district? The comp plan says 8 units an acre, but when we talked about Clear Fork and you talked about North Hills, some of these other developments where they've had some really unique things, well, that's a higher density number, and we had to reflect that, hey, we need to think about at least 16 units an acre, at least in that area, to be strategic. And so with this, you won't see any density in this land use table. That's going to be a different table to talk about the spatial requirements and density, but here we're just talking about land use. So within TOD, you'll see a variety of land uses. You'll see it as well within the entertainment district on that first section for townhomes, for, again, upper level lofts and things of that nature. So those are probably the additions to the residential uses that we've added here. Most of our commercial uses, we've kept the same. I don't think we've made any changes at all. But what I've tried to do is go down to that TOD in that entertainment district and look at those specific land uses. So when you get to, for example, your second page, kind of that bottom category that says amusement and entertainment uses, you're going to see a bunch of P's on that last column, right? Because we want to encourage bowling alleys, any indoor maybe a tavern through special exception, maybe a gym, movie theater be great, We've got some opportunity off the Parkway that's adjacent to Bowman Springs and Dick Price, kind of in that little area there. that could, what could we see there, right? And it's a residential corridor. If you think it's a residential entryway, if you've seen the police department out there pulling over all the trucks that are trying to cut through, right? Shout out to Sergeant Scott, but but it's not an industrial road. It's a road meant for residential. Well, let's keep it that way, but let's think about some other uses that would accommodate that. So, let's see you'll see the same thing again reflected the last two columns. So, after today, take it, mark it up, send me an email. We can meet one-on-one if we need to, and just let me know what your ideas are going to be. But I'm hoping you've had an opportunity to look at this before the meeting. If not, if you need more time, we'll meet again in the next coming months. Every month from here moving forward, we're going to have a discussion about this. So we hope to bring you a Word document, a draft. Last time the chair asked for a draft, a Word doc that you can all mark up and add comments to. And so I've asked for that draft. They're still working on it. I don't have that. They had a formatting issue. And so they had a PDF document. And when they went to change it to Word, it just jumbled up a bunch of things. So they're having to do cleanup. I said, I need the land use table at least, because I got to keep this conversation going. And so we're hoping by next month that you'll have an opportunity to look at that before the meeting. If you have any more discussions, we'll workshop it again. And then when you're ready to take action on it, we'll take it to council. And I guarantee they're going to workshop it, so they'll have their own spin that they'll throw on it, and that's all right. And then we'll go and we'll do our public hearings for it. Every meeting obviously is a public forum, but the law changed, right? So anytime we change anything in zoning, we got to notify the whole city, right? So when those public hearings come out, not only are we going to publish something in the paper, but we're going to send everybody out a postcard saying, hey, we're making a change to the zoning tables, so this is when the meeting's going to be, and so there'll be ample opportunity for the public even to review this stuff too. So, but with that, that's the update I have for you for these land use tables. If there's anything you want to discuss tonight about that, anything that's causing you any heartburn or something I've missed. Again, their land use is in there that I've got to add another column to make sure it's consistent with what we got on the books right now, but I'd like to hear from you.
I just have two kind of burning questions, Nathan. We've got under the residential usages, you've got manufactured house. I'm seeing that apparently it's not allowed. There's no letters anywhere along it. Right beneath it, manufactured housing subdivision. But then you have, of course, the mobile home designator permitted. So how does that work if you are allowed a subdivision but no houses to go in the subdivision?
Well, that will be permitted because that's permitted today. Again, they're trying to make sure that it's consistent with our existing uses. But in a manufactured home district, the only place you can put a manufactured home would be in a manufactured home zone property. But we do allow for, single family in manufacture. We actually had one built. It was unique, right off of Hudson Village Creek. It's manufactured zone property, but single family is permitted by right. Setbacks are a whole lot different there, than it would have been somewhere else. But
So would that hold true for a modular as well?
so modular, I look at modular as off-site construction. So if someone wanted to build a single-family home that was modular construction, as long as it's affixed to a permanent foundation, the manufactured home is on a chassis, and so a modular in off-site construction or modular construction is the next wave of construction. Hospital in Mansfield was modular construction.
Right.
Terminal at the airport, modular construction. And housing is going to be the same way. It's going to speed up quite a bit. Hasn't really hit Texas too much, but. Lumber, we got a lot of access to lumber, that, what do they call it, that East Pine Curve.
That would be an area I'm looking at maybe
Yeah.
visiting, because again, blank.
Yeah.
And the last one that just kind of made me scratch my head was the recreational vehicle sales. Nothing there.
Yeah, let's look at
I
that.
don't know, I pass one of those every day on Parkway. It's on the first page. 6 down to the end.
Oh, let's see. So today in Old Town District, well, it's blank in the residential districts. But when you get to C1, C2, Old Town, let me look at that. Old Town, I think it's missing an S, because today
Yes, there's one there.
we have a permitted use on Old Town 4. So that's today. Recreational vehicle sales, RV sales, we do allow that. Special exception in C1, it's permitted in C2. We haven't changed anything there.
Yeah, it's not marked anywhere.
Well,
I'm saying that you got the tire dealer there, but the one above it, which is the recreational vehicle sales, you've got, it's blank.
am I
open.
looking at the right column?
I don't think so.
No, I'm looking at the tire dealer. Hang on, let me,
That's the things that just stood out to me,
okay.
almost immediately.
we'll look at that.
So the manufactured home, modular home, I mean, if that's gonna be something we would look at least special case, that might want to be addressed.
Yeah,
Of course, having the subdivision without anything marked for the homes from manufactured again. And then recreational vehicles, we literally have one in city.
okay.
Like I
Yeah.
said,
And-
that's what just stood out almost immediately to me.
The modular home is a new one that's not currently, that exists in our land use tables now. So that's something that our consultants, they've added some additional land uses in there. Well, I need to look at the RV one. Unfortunately, the only one we have in town, in Old Town is going away. But we do have another, RV sale, group coming in on East Canada Parkway further down. So that building's just about done and they'll be moving in there as well. So losing one, but we're gaining another. And it's probably in a better location for them anyway. Let's see, any other items that, we can look at, if you will, look at the land use tables for the retail, service, commercial. Anything in red, they've highlighted because they're working on trying to do some cleanup with definitions. If there's something that when you get back home and you got your time and you're looking at the land use definitions on the very end of the book, it's chapter 32, I want to say, and you're reading a definition there that you feel that needs to be cleaned up, I'll take your recommendation on that, bring that to my attention, and we'll get that cleaned up as well. Amusement, entertainment uses, things of that nature, if you'll look at that as well. But again, I haven't made any changes to any of these medical uses, but some of these categories are new, are different. What they've done is they've just pulled them out of other categories and created a category specifically for that. So with that, probably some of the letters didn't get transferred over, but again, it's only a draft. We need to look at that. But that's the update we have for you. Making sure that you keep us accountable, on task.
So I see now we have energy storage systems on here. And so I know that a couple months ago, we had a P&Z case that was dealing with basically electrical storage systems. And so these are adding, are there any other, you're talking about working with a consultant to add some of these future land uses?
Yeah, that's exactly right. So as a result of that last one, they had to come the conditional use permit route because we didn't have a land use definition for it. Hey, we're going to add a land use definition there. We're probably still going to require a special exception as we want to be able to review that on a case by case. But we're also working on a definition and I didn't call it battery energy storage systems. I just call it energy storage systems. Kind of sounds the same, but if there's any other uses out there that you hear about, I want to do some forward thinking and let's get it added now so that we don't have that issue last time. I mean, last time we had to go before the Board of Adjustment to, hey, get a land use determination. What do you think this is going to be? And that was a whole couple months before it even came to P&Z. So
would be considered a special function, temporary special function? The very last one on page 3.
So we get a Super Bowl? Something like that, you know?
Kennedale Super Bowl, right?
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Okay.
You know, let's say we want to do a rodeo down at the Speedway. You know, it's got dirt there, you know, something like that. I don't know if rodeo is on here, but we can add that in there. But it gives us something to work with, you know.
Yeah, I was just curious why that wouldn't necessarily be kind of in the realm of some of the entertainment stuff as well.
Yeah, and on a temporary basis, perhaps,
I'm thinking,
Hot air balloon type stuff, you know. I've talked to folks about it. I'd like to get a Ferris wheel here in town, you know. I'm crazy like that, but, you know, if we position it right, and we're not looking at the dump or anything, maybe we could just angle it and we'll see Fort Worth and Dallas like that, you know? Anywho, but that'd be a special function.
okay, yeah, that was what I was kind of saying, is something similar to what we might have in the town square over here that,
Car show, or maybe like something like Canton, right? Like a swap meet type deal.
it's actually a swap meet in here.
Oh,
Flea market.
man, look at you. All right.
Yeah, I was thinking kind of on the realm of like a pop-up, like if you're gonna do I don't know, like a concert, you would have a stage set
Yeah,
up.
yeah.
But that would mean, that almost sounds like it would be a good place to kind of drop that in an entertainment area as well.
Yeah, and
that
it's
would
it's
allow
currently
you-
in temporary, so it's not something that we want to permit by right.
Right.
But you bring up a good point. For example,
Special conditions.
yeah,
Because you go down to Waxahachie, for an example, that's pretty common down there, is to actually see a temporary stage go up outside of sometimes the tavern areas of the,
there's a brewery off of 287 in Fort Worth, and right outside it on their grassy area, they've got a stage there, and they put on a big concert. I mean, it's huge. If we put it in the entertainment district, then it's permitted by right? You can do it every weekend. But if we keep it in the temporary uses, and we put maybe a conditional use permit or special exception or something like that, we can, have those one-offs.
well, that's what I was saying, is
Okay.
if we could have the entertainment side, have the special,
Okay,
that to me would kind of make some sense.
sure, yeah. Yeah, that's a good point.
And I got a bowling alley out here, but I want to I own it, I want to throw a small concert out in my parking lot to get people to realize I'm here. I bring in one of the local bands, let them set up. That's a special use temporary. It's not going to be, the stage is going to stay there forever, but I mean, a lot of places will utilize that type of thing for attention and,
Sure.
drawing.
I made a note of that. Any other ideas from anybody else on the board?
I'm a little upset that I can't have a heliport in my house.
You got a helicopter?
Not yet.
Oh,
I have
For a drone.
aspirations,
when you
though.
get it, they'll have it.
I have aspirations, though.
Just put a pizza box and land a drone.
There you go.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, is actually kind of a going thing too, is the remote control aircraft, drone, helicopter, that little world. That'd be a really nice thing to maybe throw off kind of the side of a park area.
Okay.
A little runway strip that you get the enthusiasts out to do that.
Yeah,
Then you have a destination attraction, if you will.
that's what we need here in town.
I know it sounds petty, but I promise you, there's a lot of them out there looking for some street to
Oh,
take
no.
off with a 6-foot plane.
Yeah, this is related, I don't want to go off on a tangent, this is related to that special function, but we really need to, and it's really council as well, but really need to find our identity, right? What's the draw into town, and how can we brand that, how can we market that? So every town's got something unique to offer, right? We need to find out what that is for us. Right now, I think we got some really cool, unique things. I think we can lean into. I think we'd encourage more art, and we've got a lot of salvage, right? But you got welders and stuff, maybe make something really cool using that, truck yards and food trucks and all sorts of different things, right? But certainly.
Whenever I speak to someone about, I live in Kennedale, it's always, oh, that's where the racetrack is. So it's always something cars, and yes, you do have a lot of salvage, because, yes, I used to come, I didn't know where Kennedale was, but a friend of mine who's a mechanic, and I've always had a, cash car for years, and go down to Kennedale, and they got such and so, and it's a salvage, and so something around that, to our identity is, cars or the racetrack or whatever. So, what can we do? Like the car shows, because there are some people that travel. A friend of mine, her husband, they just came back from, they went to Arkansas, they go to Oklahoma, there with the Corvette shows.
Yeah.
There is a car show or meeting on Albertsons once a month. Those old 57 Chevys or whatever. I
yep.
like old cars.
The one here off of Sublet, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
yes. So, maybe something around that with the single use, provision. I don't know along Kennedale Parkway if there's an area that could be used, but as people passing through, they will definitely stop to see, the older. You want to make it somewhere near where they can come over and maybe, get food or drinks.
Yeah.
We don't have a table service restaurant or whatever like that. That'd be, real nice. They can make it an afternoon. So
that's a
something
great
along
idea.
those lines.
We do have a car show that we're planning, second annual in March.
Okay.
And we timed it around the World Outlaws, because I hear that's coming back into Kennedale at the Speedway. But they timed it around that thing. But this year, we're gonna have a really unique category, personal favorite, but we've reached out to some row rider groups out there. And I talked to a gentleman, got him connected with our events coordinator, but the car show this year should be real unique. But I heard something today, and I was in a meeting that is probably the greatest thing that I've heard in a long time. It had to do with our park system. Is that what if we created within a park system in town a little mini drag strip for bikes, little kiddos on the bikes, where you got checkered flags and you have a stop and go, and you just get them out there, get them off the Xbox, get them out there riding the bikes, and we could still, kind of lean into some of that racing identity that we do have.
Well, there's such thing as a BMX park.
There you go. That is something that it could be unique in town. Nobody else has got something like that, but really cute, for the kiddos. I can just imagine the little ones going out there on their, what are those big wheels? Right, remember those big wheels? And just have it at it, and just the kids on the weekend, I haven't seen a city park with something like that. I've seen zip lines. Those are real popular, but you just sit on a zip line. If they can get out there and pedal, it's a little different. It's a little bit harder. Instead of pressing X or square or something, right? You gotta use your limbs.
And good exercise.
Exactly.
A lot of children
And so
are,
when I heard that, I said, that is a great idea.
I think at that point, you're looking at insurance though, and bonding.
Well, yeah.
Other than
with
that-
anything else, you're
Yeah,
gonna
it's
need.
like, we can find some pavement that's softer, but man, we won't make it that long. I mean, if they must be going pretty good to get that,
You know what else? Batting cages.
okay.
My boys, they're twins and they're playing have to go all the way to Arlington off of Mayfield or I don't know where, or Mansfield, and they're always full and crowded. And I'm all like, I need to make one here for my boys and for everybody, because there's nothing here for
The
baseball.
old,
for
the old
boys.
Malibu Grand Prix
Do what?
castle.
Do
I
what?
don't know if you remember the old castle in Malibu Grand Prix setup they used to have. They used to be up there, North Dallas. It eventually died, unfortunately, but that used to be, I think K1 is one of the big ones they do now indoors. Simply because of the heat, but
I did hear from a gentleman that he wants to open one of those in town, and he was looking at a facility. And so I said, if I come across a facility that'll work for you, I'm gonna let you know, because we'd love to see something like that. The facility, unfortunately, that he was looking at only had a single restroom. And so when you build one of those, you create an assembly, you got more people that would be in there based off of square footage, which means you gotta have more sinks and toilets and things like that. So you can do it, it's just gonna cost a little bit, but if you find a place that's got the space for it, it's got plenty of restrooms. So I'm telling you, I talk to people every day, and they tell me every time, you're a hard man to get a hold of. I was like, I know, because my phone won't stop ringing. And then I got all these special projects, right, that they're throwing at me. But I got a lot of people that want to do some really unique things in town, and I'm honestly, I'm gonna be honest, I'm getting tired of telling them no. I was like, just be patient with me. We're working on to do exactly what you want to do. And so you do have people knocking on the doors here, but there's we got some things to overcome. So we need to realign this code to allow for some of those things, and then everything that you're going out of town to do, you can do it right here off the Parkway in Town Center, here in town. You know, and that's going to supply the tax base that we need, you know, and be able to drop some stuff, right? You know,
Right.
you got other people picking up the load, particularly entertainment district, more people coming.
Pigeon Forge of Tarrant County.
There you go, you know?
You ever been there? That's a fun place to go.
That's a good exercise for y'all. What is our blank blank of Tarrant County? What is it today? Right? I won't tell you what I hear, right? But you all live here, right? I don't live here, but this is what I hear, but we can change that, right? But what would you like it to say?
You gotta keep in mind, 20 years ago, what it used to be.
There you go. Well,
That's on the list, by
it's
the way.
improvement, but that's long-term planning, right? Someone back then had an idea, hey, what if we change, let's just change, right? Let's think about what we can do, and it takes time, right? It does take time, but that's what this is. This ain't gonna happen overnight, but if you will create the environment to allow for it to happen, and give it time, man, it'll happen.
Yes.
All right.
I think we beat you to death there, Nathan. Anything last attacks with them, or?
Hey, I didn't get called a name here, so that's happened here. This is civil.
This ain't over yet.
I'd really like to see the mixed use with the retail,
Yeah.
beneath, and then, with the residence condos or what have you above. And definitely, it would make it the aesthetics, as you pass through, because right now it is kind of, pass through. I'm thinking to myself, my grands, they are active in sports, and we go to Mansfield and Arlington. Yeah, because my granddaughter goes to the volleyball. It's on 20 in Cooper. And then they play at the Mansfield Fieldhouse yeah.
Yeah, the mixed use thing, I
Realize that
think
we don't do anything in.
I think it'd be a game changer
I go
in
to Eaton,
town.
Arlington.
Yeah, and another thing too about mixed
But I'm
use,
so
when you
close
allow
to
for
it, right
that,
there.
is that you're attracting you're attracting the right kind of builder, right? Because it is more expensive to build a mixed use. You got
Yes.
fire requirements, fire separation requirements, sprinklers, but the folks that do that, they know it's beneficial. And what it doesn't attract is the cheap apartment home builders,
Yes.
right? And so, without that mixed use requirement, right? Hey, you let you do this above, but down below, this is what we need. This is what we require. I got folks asking. Right now I got to tell them no.
Well, I remember going to, I don't want to say my employer. I remember going to Frisco before Legacy West and all that. When I go out there now, I can't even remember what it looked like before because it's so much filled in now. But with one of my employers, I did a detail. Well, one of my coworkers, I did a detail to their shop, and they were economic and market analysis division. And they went to all of the economic development commissions throughout the Dallas community, and we went to Frisco, and that's before Legacy West. And so just like that built up, if we plan it, zone it correctly or whatever, like you said, build it, they'll come. I could see the future in 10 years, it won't be the pass-through that it is now. People are stopping, people are living here, lessen the tax base, for those residents who live here, because now you have more tax dollars that are being spent with people stopping in, or even with the mixed use. I really like that mixed use or whatever. I could see that, because once they build it, it'll be an attraction where people will say, they'll start looking around.
Yeah, and we're limited in size, right? We're not gonna blow up and become like some of these other towns, but we're gonna be small but mighty. One of the things I say often, mighty, mighty Kennedale, right? And so we can be small, but we can be our own thing. We don't have to be like these other towns, but create your own identity and allow that, and that'd be, I'd be happy for y'all, I really would. So I'd spend a little bit more money here in town too, if I found a place to eat. I ate at a great ramen place last night. I'd love to get some ramen here in town. You know what I mean? And then, other than just like a cup of noodle or something, but anyhow. Happy to answer any more questions that you got. But I think it's been good input. I've received some good input, so we'll get to work on all this.
All right, last attacks. that's about it then. All right. Well, it is 2 minutes till 7. I'd like to get a motion to adjourn at that point then.
Motion we adjourn.
Second?
I second it.
All right, we're going to be adjourned at 6:58.